Welcome to the Yokoy Academy. In this video, you will learn how to create a receiptless expense in the Yokoy mobile app. If you have an expense but didn't receive a receipt for it or maybe lost it, you can create a receiptless expense if this option is enabled for your company. Click on the three vertical dots in the bottom right corner and select New Receiptless Expense. Rather than having our artificial intelligence automatically complete the expense form after uploading a file, you must fill in every field yourself. The options available to you will depend on your company's configuration and applicable policies. Therefore, what you see may differ slightly from what is shown in this video. Swipe up or down on the expense information to add up to 3 supporting documents of up to 5 megabytes each to back up your claim for possible reimbursement since you don't have a receipt. You can either take a picture directly or select an image or file from your phone. You can delete additional files from the expense by clicking on the trash can icon on the left. The first field to fill in is the business purpose or description. Make it clear what this expense is for. Select the receipt currency and enter the full receipt amount. You can also add extra charges, such as tips or card fees, to your expense. If the currency of the expense differs from your company's currency, the amount will be automatically converted using the exchange rate on the payment date. Here, you can also see the status of your expense. Yokoy may display information, warnings, and error notifications to alert you to any violations of company policy, errors, or missing mandatory information in the expense. Actionable cues can be found beside the relevant field or at the bottom of the screen. If a notification is triggered, you can either adjust the expense or submit it as it is. These notifications can also be seen by manager and finance users. All fields marked with an asterisk are mandatory. If you leave any of these blank, you will not be able to submit the expense, and missing data is highlighted in red. Next, check the expense payment date. The current date is always listed in the field by default, so please make sure to adjust it if your expense did not occur on that day. Use the small arrows on the right side of the screen to open and collapse each section for adjustment. In the cost allocation section, concepts such as the cost object and categories are grouped together. Select the category and cost object this expense belongs to. Enable advanced allocation to add additional cost objects or categories and decide how and where the expense amount should be split and allocated. Next, select the payment method that you use to pay for the expense. Select Paid Privately if you paid in cash or with your personal bank card and wish to be reimbursed. Otherwise, select the company card that the transaction occurred on. Depending on your company's policies, you will usually not be reimbursed for the expense, but instead, the amount will be deducted from your company card account. Make sure that the country in which the expense was incurred matches the currency selected for the receipt at the beginning. You are automatically selected as a participant by default. If necessary, add the relevant participants to the expense. You can search for Yokoy users from the same company or organization, as well as adding external participants and deleting them again. During your editing process, you can click the X button in the top right corner to either save your changes and exit the expense, or discard your changes and exit without saving. To access additional expense fields, click on More Options. Select the tax rate and gross amount for countries from which your company can reclaim VAT. Alternatively, a finance user can take care of this. For expenses relating to a work trip, select the relevant trip here. You can only add expenses to a trip if the trip's feature is enabled for your company and if you have created a trip that has not yet been submitted. Next, add company-specific tags to provide more information to your expense. Leave a comment in the activity timeline if an expense has a warning and has been discussed with a manager, or if you wish to provide additional information about the reason for the expense and why the receipt cannot be submitted. Once you have filled in all the required information, you have 2 options to proceed. Click Save Draft if you want to save the expense and return to it later. Click Submit if you want to submit the expense. After clicking Submit, your expense will disappear from the My Tasks menu because it will no longer be an open task. You can view your submitted expenses in the Expenses Submitted section. Here you can track them through the approval process and through the three dots. You can access the activity timeline or recall the expense to make adjustments. You can also swipe right in the expense overview to access the recall or archive quick actions. Now you can successfully create and submit receiptless expenses in the Yokoy mobile app. Thanks for watching and have fun exploring Yokoy.